All right, my friends, welcome to episode 355 of Prof and Dev Play Games. My name is Larry, the professor at Prof Plays Games on Twitter, and this week he is back. It is the dev at Summer Speak on Twitter. How's it been?
Fine, I'm not completely wrecked by moving large amounts of furniture and beds around up and down flights of stairs. You
That's
know,
good news.
really big, not big, it's only a queen size bed, as like wife and I's bed, but it's really well made. Like
Mm-hmm.
hardwood, very nice. We specifically got it because we're like, we don't want just the flimsy IKEA frame anymore. We want like a real bed frame. But it's a bit of a monster to move and take apart to move between floors. I remember, you get you move something, I'm starting to screw different pieces and start taking apart, and I just get hit with the like remembrance of putting this thing together in the first place.
Oh,
in
yeah,
in the
totally.
current room, and I was like, oh no, what am I doing? I promised I would never do this.
And I'm doing it again. God damn it.
But it's done.
Yeah.
I've recovered, and I'm feeling quite a bit better. Not just absolutely exhausted. So that's good. I'm pretty happy about that. But I'm happy to have the house in order, and it feels really weird to be using the entire house now. Been here 10 years, and really the basement, daylight basement, was only used when guests stayed here or when we were doing laundry. Sometimes I kind of worked out of an office down there. I moved it when I was working. But for the most part, it's always been this very separate part of the house. We have a gate at the top of the stairs. Like, we don't go down there, but now, like, the gate's open all the time and we're up and down. It's like, oh, we're using our full house now. This is crazy.
You like doubled the square foot of your
Yeah, basically,
footage of your
almost.
house. Yeah.
Yeah, close to it. Was pretty happy with the guest bedroom. I posted pictures in our Discord of me putting up my old game boxes. I was happy to do that.
Yes, it looks beautiful.
And I'm happy that my wife let me. Not even a complaint. She's like, sure. So that room is going to be fairly nerdy decorated. I have like a wood, laser cut wood, Ocarina of Time map.
Oh, damn.
That I it's been in that room before, but I need to put it up in a different place. And I have and maybe you got some of these, the Bill Mudrin little where he did an image for every game. So I have like the Wind Waker and the Link to the Past.
I don't know if I did. I don't know what that reference is.
I sent you the link. He just made art prints. He's the guy who did the Hyrule map that I have in my
the one you have.
office.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
But he also did, at one point, he just did a series, and they're all like little 10x6 art prints, and it's an image for every Zelda game.
Oh man!
So you could just pick. I thought you might have ordered the Wind Waker one.
I think
don't
maybe
know.
now I'm remembering.
It could be hidden somewhere in your house that you've lost, but
shit,
we'll
possibly.
discover it
What's the
again.
guy's name again?
Bill Mudrin.
How do you spell Mudrun? Mudrun?
Yeah. Or RON.
RON. Okay. Oh yeah, I remember seeing that. The Great Sea. Oh, it's fucking beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, I have the Great Sea, and I have the Link to the Past, the Master Sword with the light coming in through the forest and everything. I can get those framed, and I'm gonna put around it, and then have all those old PC game boxes up there. Got a lot of nostalgia out of that for people at System Era. I sent a picture to our office Slack, and they're like, some of them were like, I had every single one of those games. Oh my god. And some of them were like, Crusader, I haven't thought of that game in ages. And I'm like, I know.
That's really cool.
So yeah, we all nerded about all the people around our age, or plus or minus 5 years, were nerding the crap out about those games. So
I mean, I love that Diablo 2 is centered.
It has to be, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's Diablo 2, the collector's edition. It's Diablo, the expansion on one side, and the original Diablo on the other side.
Yep.
Yeah, that had to be centered, and then right below it, centered is System Shock 2, which from our Discord saying games that I love that have weapon degradation. System Shock 2. Um, it is a
I, I
key part of that. The loops and tension of that game is nothing survives. Like, you are scrounging for ammo, your weapons break. You can repair them if you have the right skills. So if you didn't take that class, it's a full RPG. If you did not boost those skills, yeah, you're not repairing shit. Um,
I agree with you that it really like shoot toward things you don't normally do
yeah,
or play with. And I just bought Wind Waker: The Great Sea
yeah. Oh,
while we were
cool.
talking.
I thought you
Um,
had already bought it, but I
I
could have been
meant
wrong.
to, and then life got in the way, and I didn't. But now I have.
I feel
Um,
like in your daughter's room, that would be amazing.
well, she has one already with the Japanese. I don't remember what it's called, but the Wave.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah,
but then it
the
has the
Hokusai. Yeah.
then it has King of Red Lions.
That's
With
actually really
Link.
cool.
It's fucking awesome. It's really cool. So she already has something in there, and then she has a bespoke painting that I commissioned of her swinging on a swing in a forest with
Oh
Wind
yeah.
Waker Link. You've seen that one, I think.
Yeah.
So, but I just bought this new one.
This
Wind
one's
Waker.
it's really cool.
It is so cool. He's like headed up for adventure, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
I really like Bill Mudrin's art quite a bit. It's very clean. I have that. I have one of his Ghibli pieces, his Nausicaa piece he did, because he did a bunch of like this, like a picture for every Studio Ghibli, not Ghibli, every Miyazaki directed Studio Ghibli film. Actually, my wife got it for me as a birthday present years ago. Was the Om attack from Nausicaa, which I want to frame and put that up probably in my office because I love that movie. But he has great maps too. He has original Zelda map that he's redone, the Link to the Past, Mushroom Kingdom. He has a Castlevania map.
Oh wow,
It's really cool. I think he did like a Game of Thrones one at some point too. That one might be sold.
oh fuck
like
me.
He's done a couple things, but he did like a big Game of Thrones map at one point. I don't know. I just like his art style. It's very clean. Big fan. So
I'll have to go look later.
yeah, I'm just giving the shout out. Just he's a cool artist. Actually, the one that really got me, I don't have a reason for it, is on his site he has this thing called the NES Vid Pro Mall, and it's basically like what you would look at in Toys R Us.
Really?
Buying video games in
Hell
Toys
yeah.
R Us, like where it's just the giant wall where like you just pull out the paper of what you wanted to buy, and so he made a print basically of that. Yeah, it looks, I don't know, there's an angled one where it's like a kid looking at the wall and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that brings back memories. Where you're just buying a game based on a picture on the
and you play, like, I bought Xanadu, and I got home and like, that doesn't look like the box art.
Nope.
At all. And actually this game kind of sucks. I think there's like a research. I've heard a couple people on podcasts recently talk about Xanadu, and I was like, maybe I should find that on the emulator somewhere. Maybe I just wasn't ready for it as a young kid.
That's possible. That's very possible.
Yeah. Well, that was a big tangent, but
it was.
I'm going to continue it slightly off tangent of that tangent. We raised some money for reproductive justice, and I wanted to just touch base with the audience. I'm donating $250 based on downloads that we had during, I think it was August, to Sister Song Women of Color Reproductive Justice Collective, and they're based out of Atlanta, Georgia. Shout out to my wife who helped me find a good place to send the money to. So I just wanted to let people know, put the receipts out there. That's where I'm sending my money.
That's very cool. I am going to be talking with my wife on a good place for what if she has any place that she specifically would want, likely follow Sister Song, because they seem really cool. And it's probably much needed and will probably be very useful there.
Yeah, be put to good use, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, folks, for downloading, telling friends, and helping us get to the $500 donation we're going to make jointly. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now we're going to move on to some unawesome news, and then some more unawesome news, and then some hilarious news that we knew was coming, but it's probably not awesome, but it's kind of awesome. So we're going to talk about Nintendo and unions. We're going to talk about the disillusion of Zaum, the people behind Disco Elysium, and we're going to talk about Stadia going away. We're going to spend very little time on the Nintendo thing, so just going to make me mad. But I'm going to read the beginning of this Axios article. This is from Stephen Totillo. We talked a couple weeks ago about the Nintendo situation with the game testers who were contracted by Aston Carter and having issues with having just lots of issues. But now it's gotten more, there are more details. The person has come out. Their name is Mackenzie Clifton. It's a Nintendo worker who filed a labor complaint earlier this year against the gaming giant. The veteran game tester alleges Nintendo and contracting firm Aston Carter had them fired. So it's both of them in
Yeah.
February because they asked Nintendo management a question about unions. What they're saying is, I hope that during a Q&A portion with Nintendo of America president Doug Bowser, Clifton asked, what does NOA think about the unionization trend in QA in the games industry as of late? Clifton's question wasn't addressed in the meeting, but later that day, Clifton says a supervisor from Aston Carter called them saying it was a downer question and advised them to direct such inquiries to the contracting firm, not Nintendo. Clifton says they were baffled and kind of angry, and then less than a month later, they were fired. Nintendo denies that unions had anything to do with Clifton's dismissal, saying instead the tester was let go for publicly disclosing confidential information, which Clifton denies. The tweet that was as the basis for that was basically them saying in today's build, someone somewhere must have deleted every other texture in the game because everything is now red, just pure red, very silly. Vague tweet,
Yeah.
Clifton says. But that's what Nintendo's hanging their hat on, and the National Labor Relations Board has not made a statement. But I assume that NLRB are looking into it because the NLRB is who I would go to with my labor complaints as well, and they do take them seriously. So, fuck.
Yeah. This just isn't going away for Nintendo or Aston Carter. It still comes down to me being like, God, Nintendo's big enough. They don't need, probably do not need to be hiring someone to handle their QA.
No, I don't think so either.
Like, I get probably why they are big enough, so they're like, we don't want to deal with this, so someone else take care of it. Which seems very common. I don't know if this is common worldwide, but it's very common in American businesses. To contract out portions of your business, that operations in some way at certain points. You're just like, yeah, we don't want to do that internally. Just hire a contracting firm just to handle it. That's it. I mean, I guess what the NRLB is going to have to see is if I mean, if they take this seriously and feel like there is something here, I assume it would go for discovery eventually, and they would need to see if there's communication between Aston Carter and Nintendo about this, and who at Nintendo.
Yeah, I wonder if like forced arbitration is in the contract.
I
That
don't know.
this person signed, which kind of stops some of that, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's a lot I don't like. That's the thing. All this has now come out, and this is like the third thing, which is, I guess, it's the same matter as before, but they just have the specific name of the employee. I really want to know who they technically work for. Really, like, is it just Aston Carter? Are they a contract employee to Aston Carter? Is their employment contract also partly Nintendo in there? Like,
Right.
there's a lot of vagueness to me on these QA folks at Nintendo and how they're legally structured in there, because it seems really complicated, and I don't think it should be this complicated.
Yeah, I mean, I just noticing obviously with this, but with a lot of things happening in my world, insourcing, doing things yourself, like trusting your teams,
Yeah.
building teams to do things is much better than outsourcing where you lose control and maybe you're hiring idiots, and it just causes problems. So I feel
Yeah.
like if you don't know how to do the thing, that's something, I guess. But QA, like they make games, they could QA internally, like they could bring them internally. They could hire a whole. I feel like they could hire a whole team, and that doesn't address the idea of unionization. That's a separate issue, but like there seems to be a lot of problems with this Aston Carter
Yeah.
contractor. Maybe
And whoever, and potentially people inside NOA, which I assume Aston Carter probably, their contractor for QA probably reports into the HR structure more than anything.
Yeah.
And well, we already know corporate HR is not there to protect the employee at all. They're only there to protect Nintendo in this case. So, yeah, because they're trying to figure out. I'm like, okay, I really want to know. Like, okay, during a QA portion of Nintendo of America President Doug Bowser, what does NOA like? I want more details on that. Like, how was the question submitted? Was it voiced and not like was Clifton in a were they all in a room listening
I
to
got
this? Were they? I mean, the company's big enough that I'm just like, okay, it's likely not that. It's probably some online. That's how EA used to do it. Like, it's not like everyone in EA, PopCap was a part of EA at that point, is in the same location, so that it was all um, streamed
yeah, like
internally.
Zoom or something like that.
Yeah, it was like whatever
Teleconferencing. Yeah.
teleconferenced around, and I believe that was then you could ask questions in the chat, like
Hmm.
or specific ways to submit it, but not everything got asked. But I'm like, did that question? I'm like, okay, did Clifton was it ever voiced to Doug Bowser, or was it basically caught before it ever went out?
Right.
And no, and like no one in the upper echelons in it, which is very possible.
I would
Like,
assume, yeah, because it says that question wasn't addressed in the meeting. That seems like a big one to like ignore.
yeah.
Um,
So it's
so
very much it could have just been filtered out from wherever they submit questions, and it never was like, oh, we're not answering that. It's weird that it would come back being like a downer question. Aston supervisor at Aston Carter, which I'm like, were they involved in monitoring the questions?
well, the whole thing about like
Because like, oh,
advising them to direct inquiries to the contracting firm, not Nintendo. The question is, what does Nintendo think about unionization
yeah.
in QA? Not what the fuck does Aston Carter think about it?
Which then
Because
this
no,
also makes me now wonder. I'm like, okay, was Clifton ever an did their employment contract ever have them stated as an employee of Nintendo?
mm-hmm.
Because I could totally also see that being a thing and being like this advising them not to direct question to the contracting firm is being like, you get to listen to this internal stuff, but you're not meant to. You get to ask questions to Nintendo.
Yeah,
Which then again it gets into a weird place where I'm like, if you're a contractor, then you shouldn't even be on these internal calls. Like, usually. Again, there's a lot of weird gray area here to me that I'm just like, I would love more clarity. So I kind of want the NRLB to take this up more and produce something that just clears all these kind of questions up for me in that regard. Like,
there will definitely be more. I don't know if it'll clear it up, but we will hear more of
I just
this.
want to know. I want to really know how Aston Carter QA management, how that is actually like structured in Nintendo.
Yeah,
Like, are they so? I mean, that's the thing. I'm like, it depends on that employment contract, as you said, with like forced arbitration as well for like where this can go. Or there's so many things that could stop this from going anywhere. But I mean, at what point does Nintendo just say like, no, we're done with using this company?
soon it's gotta be. Fuck. How many
Yeah.
bad PR beats can you have? We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to look further down. Working on Smash Brothers was special. So they worked on Smash and they were really upset when they didn't get. So I doubt it's to them, but I'm pretty sure it was the feller. None of the fellow testers didn't get to the Smash Brothers credit. So I bet that's like QA by Aston Carter,
In the
company.
credits, yeah.
Yeah, not individual names.
Right.
Which is unfortunate, but video game credits are weird. I'll say that for sure.
Well, we've seen a lot of news recently where someone like starts but doesn't finish, or
Oh
comes
yeah,
in but didn't start, and it's like they don't get in. Or if you stay the whole time but you leave right before, you don't get in.
every company's different. There's no consistency
Yeah.
at all. Again, with contracting companies like this, there is no guarantee that you'd be in the credits at all. Like, they might just credit the company that worked there
Yeah.
because they're just like, okay, this is the company that did this. Some like, that's the thing. There's absolutely no regulation or standards for that. Like, movies have and TV have standards for how you get credited. Everyone in like VFX contracting firms get everyone listed that worked on it. Video
But
games
that's
doesn't have that.
well, part
Um,
of that's the result, I would assume, of unionization, because a
yeah, the
lot of
guilds,
those,
all the
yeah,
guilds
exactly,
and
like
stuff saying like this is how credits need to be shown and
exactly.
the whole thing. Like, and there, yeah, there's a specific type of unionization that happened there. I feel a guild system might be useful in video games at some point. Somehow, maybe, we'll see. I don't know, but yeah, Game Designer Guild, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I'm for that. That'd be cool. Game writers, although game writers, I think can get one of the
writing guilds, or
the writing guilds,
yeah,
because I know
I
some video game writers that are. So
right, yeah, and it's just one of the benefits of unionization is some of those rules about how things happen, because those credits stack up and matter in terms of, I assume, residuals or something. Not
they
QA
can,
perhaps,
yeah,
but
not QA test, and
yeah.
even like that's the thing. There's no residuals for design. There's no residuals at all for anybody who works on a video game for the most part, unless
Let's change it.
yeah.
I wrote all that code.
Yeah, kind of. Guess what? You might have read it. You don't have it. That's the company that was paying you.
I've written textbooks for Oxford University Press. I know how that works.
Yeah.
Dumbest financial mistake of my life was
I'm
not
sorry.
taking the full upfront, quite generous fee, and instead saying royalties will pay better. They did not. It's number one on my list of regrets in my life.
But
anyway,
it sucked. This whole thing just sucks. It's gonna keep going. I don't know what the next steps are gonna be here. Like with NLRB complaints, I don't know how long that actually takes for anything to happen, or if anything will be public from it. Also, that's the other thing.
right, that's true.
Because I could totally see they'll
I think
do
NLRB
investigation and won't make it public, or they'll give it to Clifton and they can make the choice, I guess.
Well, I believe there is a public-facing announcement of some kind. Like, maybe it's vague, but I believe NLRB has something that's public-facing.
Okay.
But I don't know if that would satisfy anyone's curiosity,
Yeah. It's a downer, though. God.
Yeah.
I got nothing else on this one.
Yeah,
Just
no, it's good. My wife just sent me a text that sent me reeling a little bit.
Oh, no.
About the local church who's now sending out voter guides, and other ones that are heavily involved in recruiting crazy right-wing candidates to run in our school boards.
I did see a thing. So if they're putting out voter guides like that, that's political.
Mm-hmm.
I did see a couple stories where like churches did that and they lost their tax-free status. Like people took the evidence and presented it to. I have to look it up again. There's a specific. I don't know if it's the IRS or not. It might be the IRS where you just submit it. You're just like, hey, this church is doing this.
Yep.
This violates their agreement, like, and it totally got at least one church, because it was a video of a pastor complaining that they had to pay taxes now.
Yep, exactly. So I might investigate that, because these fucks.
Don't do that.
There's a lot of fuckery happening right now, my friend.
Yeah.
And I'm a little tired of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on to story number 2, which is Google Stadia. It's going bye-bye. Google Stadia 3 years ago talked about how they were in it to win it for the long term, and now they're shutting down. But they are refunding everybody everything.
Which probably means they didn't make that much money.
I would assume so, right?
Because if they made a lot of money, they probably wouldn't go that far.
Like, how many Stadia bundles, the Founders Editions that I bought, because I thought the Chromecast was cool, and wanted to try Stadia out. It was like $100 or whatever, and I bought probably 2 or 3 games, so I'll probably get refunded like $150 or so, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
I would like that with inflation though, so it should be like $250.
You're like, come on, investment, like my interest on that money. Nope.
Exactly. No, it's not gonna happen. But what do you think about this?
I mean, it kind of felt it was expected after they killed their own internal studio working on stuff for it. No one's really talking about it. Honestly, streaming gaming in general, no one's really talking about. I can't imagine it's profitable for anybody doing it in the end.
Well, it's also, like the I forget, the Logitech tablet or whatever that they had just put together for streaming xCloud stuff.
Okay.
It's Wi-Fi only, so you can only stream it really, where you have Wi-Fi at your house. What's the point?
That makes sense.
What's the point? You want that on the go,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anyone's completely cracked this at all. But the Stadia thing is expected. It's cool that they're going out by refunding everybody. But I did see the stuff where Many Stadia employees didn't know that was happening until they read the news.
Can you believe that shit?
And there were devs that didn't know this was happening.
They're
And
like about to
we're
release
having
games.
games launching
Yeah.
like this week that no one can buy now because the store doesn't exist.
I didn't realize they took the store down. That would make sense, but
I saw pictures that the store was down.
Holy shit. Let
I'll
me see if I
check.
can log
Maybe
into my account.
Can you
Got it.
actually buy anything?
Let's see here. Store. The store will wind down, and the Stadia store is now closed.
There you
Holy
go.
shit.
Yep.
Oh my god. They were getting
Yep.
their games ready to launch, and now there's no store to buy their games.
No.
Oh my god. That's unbelievable.
So that leads me to believe, one, they didn't want anyone leaking this information, or two, this was a very quick decision. Like, maybe the writing's on the wall and it was fine. It was just like, no, kill it now. We're just done.
Yeah.
Cause oh god.
I can still invite friends and get rewards.
Yeah, cool.
Let me copy this link and put it in the chat for you. No, just kidding. Oh my god, what a mess.
Yeah, it's a huge mess. It is expected. Unfortunately, Google was not in it to win it.
No.
But I don't think anyone's in it to win it with streaming right now.
Yeah.
In the full force of it. It's a nice like side benefit on like PlayStation and Microsoft, but they don't ever sit there super touting it. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's the thing that's there. But that's not what you're that's not the main thing you're paying for. And I bet they see that very few people actually use it in the end, because I don't know. Like, you had your Google Stadia. How many times did you actually use it?
Me? Jesus. I probably used it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
That was just like when I was at the tea shop. I was like, oh, I can play at the tea shop. I played Destiny 2. I was like, this is a cool novelty. I'd rather play my Switch. Because like the streaming was not fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you can't guarantee the quality of the streaming because it's so dependent upon the networks you're on, be it over a cell network. Who knows what your cell service is, and then who knows how good the Wi-Fi, their route, where at your tea shop. How good's the router that they're using?
Yeah, probably
like
not very good.
what is their connection? The whole thing. Like, a lot of little shops like that don't have like fancy hardware.
But that's kind of the use case for this stuff, is like
it
outside your
is.
home, you know?
Yep.
Like us in my home, like it's suboptimal. That's where I'm gonna be, but that's where I want to try it out. Like I don't need it in my house. I have my fucking PlayStation and my Switch and my Xbox and my PC. Like fuck.
Yeah. I'm sure the pandemic didn't help them in this regard.
No, that is true. That is a good point.
We're launching this thing, and okay.
Fuck.
6 months later, well, no one's leaving their house to use any streaming, so
I mean, it hurt my Switch playing. Like I played my Switch more than anything until the pandemic, and I only played Switch handheld. So I was like, well, I'm home, so I'm gonna play something else.
So yeah, that probably didn't help them at all. Which also, but it does go to show like that for whatever's going on with Google right now, they just didn't see it was even worth continuing to try to boost it or
exactly
market it more or anything. They just gave up. They're like,
it's like what you said from the beginning. This will not last long. And I think you had mentioned that about Steam Deck as well, but it seems like that is going.
I mean, it's going. I still don't. I see people talking about it, but I have yet to actually have someone who sits around playing it. Like they play it for like a couple people at work that I've got. They play it as a novelty. They got it months ago and they haven't touched it since. At least they don't talk about using it. They talk about their like badass PC that they're playing on.
Yeah.
Or playing on a PS5 or wherever. So, I mean, that's just anecdotal. But I'm like, you got it because you were really excited about a piece of tech.
Yep.
You messed with it a little bit, and now it's just collecting dust. Because everything that you're playing on there, you just play on your PC that has a 3090.
Exactly. I would like them to unlock the controller, though, so people could use it on other things. I wonder if they'll do that.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know. There's definitely... I feel like the Steam Deck is fine, but it's not... I wouldn't ever call it, like, super huge breakout success. I don't even think Valve is making enough to make a huge breakout success.
But they are talking about making a second one.
Sure, and they should. I expect Valve will at least make a second one.
That's good. That's the one I will buy.
Yeah, that's definitely the one that would be interesting to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, they'll at least probably make one more.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
that's going.
to
Yeah.
to introduce the next story, we can move on from Stadia.
Yeah.
I would like to read you a poem if you'll give me
Oh no.
a minute of your time.
Okay.
I sleep beside you naked. Fuck. My body touches yours under the blanket and it's slightly raining. I do not know if I'm allowed to be here. My ears might explode. Silence is like bootleg vodka. I'm still, no longer breathing. Stay a moment. Don't go yet. I wake up naked next to you. My hand touches yours under the blanket. It's still raining. I don't know if I'm still here. Your honey touches my lips. My milk flows through. One can't be closer than you. I don't know if you're even here. I'm standing at the ski jump tower and racing down from there on ice skates. Can you guess what I'm thinking of when flying with the springboard left behind me? That's a poem translated by Martin Liuga, who that is their post before a post they put out to yesterday, actually, titled The Disillusion of the Zaum Cultural Association. And I read that poem as preamble because Disco Elysium was weird, and so was that poem.
Yeah, Disco Elysium is even. You've played more than me. I've played like probably close to 2 hours, and it's really fucking weird.
Yeah, it gets way weirder.
I'm sure it does. And
I had,
this
yeah,
out of nowhere,
to
seeing the
progress.
dissolution of this.
Yeah, yep.
Which I mean, there has to be something said there about success leading to conflict sometimes. Like Disco Elysium was super successful.
Yep.
Probably way more than they ever expected it to be, being how absolutely niche and bizarre the game is. I don't think you go into making that game expecting it to be such a breakout hit in the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have to make the next game.
Yeah, and
And
I
I can
feel like
see that can cause conflict. We see it in all other types of like group related creative activities.
well, in the way that just the game is, it's so unusual is the wrong word, but I can imagine the people who created it were also unusual in structure or how they wanted to approach art and business.
Yep.
So, with success, maybe brings up different ideas that don't exactly mesh with that
Yeah.
cultural association. Yeah.
I mean, the
So
Medium post did say that some people were involuntarily left. It's very flowery language to being like fired, get the hell out.
I fired them because they weren't following my cultural ethos anymore. So we're dissolving this cultural association.
Yeah. They're still hiring though, because the company still exists. I'm like on the Zaum studio page. They're hiring sales and monetization specialist, a production business partner, a lead game designer, a senior Unity gameplay programmer, and a UI Unity programmer.
But like the key people of Disco Elysium, the writer, the art director,
Yep.
they're gone.
Yep.
Like, yeah, that sequel is going to be weird.
So, I mean, are they making us? I mean, that's the thing. I doubt it's. At this
Well,
point, I'm like, maybe they didn't want to make a sequel to Disco Elysium. That's
well, the
possible.
IGN article that came out yesterday about this, it was late last night.
Okay.
Despite the news, Luiga says things with the Disco Elysium sequel are actually sweet enough. What the fuck does that mean? Oh my god.
So weird. But I'm not holding out hope at all on this. Just be
No.
honest. Like,
Eh.
clearly there wasn't alignment on what the sequel should be.
Oh, I didn't see this. I didn't go and read the comments. In the comments of the post, Luiga appears to place some of the blame for the situation on the investors of Zaum, while also admitting Disco Elysium may not have happened without them in the first place. Imagine a kleptomaniac, if you will, Luiga said, only that instead of stealing, say, a lollipop, they take pains to manipulate dozens of people to steal, in the end, from themselves just because they happen to be very proficient in that kind of operation. It's what they always do. One of them was the first guy to be convicted for investment fraud in Estonia. All the same, I don't know if we would have managed to get the initial investment without these people.
Oh boy.
Yeah, man. Well, I was telling you off mic before. It's like wine. You get delicious, beautiful wine that's from year to year, even the same winemaker, same vintage, same whatever. It's different, and you get to enjoy it once, and it's amazing for what it was, and we're blessed to have had it, and that's how I feel about Disco Elysium. I don't need a sequel. The game was amazing. If I want a sequel, I'll go play it again because
Yeah.
it'll be very different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
weird.
I mean, if the studio just fully implodes, fine. They made one. I'm sure all the other people could reform something else or go someplace else. But
Well, if those 3 people like got together and did something,
sure.
I would I would go there. Like,
Yeah.
okay, yes, I'm very interested in hearing what you have because you're amazing. I don't need it to be part of Zaum or whatever. So,
Yeah. I do love that. I just saw the comment that you read, the Martin
oh man,
Luiga comment. That's
isn't
really
that
good.
crazy?
Um, which that adds a whole other wrench in being going like, oh yeah, your company is founded with other investment, and those people expect certain things.
Yes,
Um, which has been great because allowed you to make a game in the first place, but doesn't sound like it's so great when you're trying to make whatever's next because these people care about what you're making. You didn't get it with no strings attached, basically.
exactly. And they sort of wanted the strings attached.
Yeah.
The weird thing about the Medium post, I don't know. He says that Martin Luiga, Talon Inpatient Treatment Center of Psychiatric Clinic, Ward 9.
Sure.
Is that just is that supposed to mean something, or is
I
that
thought is that Disco Elysium shit?
no? Because Talon's a real place where they in Estonia, where the studio's located.
Sure. I don't know. They made Disco Elysium. What do you want?
Yeah,
Like, you
exactly.
can't make a Medium post without having something just weird in there.
Well, I hope he's okay if he's really in treatment.
I doubt he is, but I could be wrong. But I mean,
Again, let me read you this poem. I sleep Nick. No, just kidding.
yeah, exactly. Maybe so. I don't know.
Anyway, there's that.
Well, he
So
did. He posted. He had another Medium post 18 hours ago.
he did. Let's see if
Pulp
I can.
Saga 7. Mill is looking for a home.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Written by
He's like a
Henry.
translation of something.
Yeah, he translated this short story. I don't know. So even if he is an inpatient somewhere, he still has internet access and can do translations. So
So there you go. Weird stuff, dude. Just touching. Like I was talking to my wife about it tonight. The Dahmer Netflix film, or
oh right,
series or what the fuck ever. I'm like, I don't care how good that is. I'm not watching it. I don't want any of my psychic energy anywhere related to anything like that. And Disco
sure.
Elysium is not quite like that, but it's so engrossing and you're so in it that you walk away with some of those thoughts in your head and you're like I had to become a fucking racist, like a hardcore racist to get through one part of the story. Um, that sticks with you a little bit. You're like,
Yeah,
oh, I feel gross. So
yeah.
there you go.
It's not a game about making you feel good a lot of the time.
No, it sure isn't.
Yeah, that was pretty obvious even from the first few hours, being like, oh, okay, we're going places with this.
Mhm.
But yeah, it said unique. Maybe it won't ever happen again from those people.
But there'll be another one. There'll be another unique game like this, and
Yeah.
like that's what's so awesome about
Actually, I will say I can transition to what I'm playing.
awesome, perfect,
And
good
because I won't
segue.
say it's Disco Elysium in that way, but I picked up a game called Citizen Sleeper. This game freaking is like the closest I've come to a solo tabletop RPG experience.
Whoa, whoa,
It's
whoa! You
fucking
have my attention.
cool.
Oh shit!
It's like visual. It's not even visual. It's like narrative story, but it pulls in like some. It
Oh
has
my
like a
gosh!
dice mechanic going on.
Roleplay in the ruins of
It
interplanetary
is, and it feels
capitalism.
like you're role playing. And there's a thing in think this mechanic in RPGs, new RPGs called clock.
Oh my god! I fucking want this game.
It gets pretty damn cool.
Oh shit! Okay.
I'm trying to think of this mechanic where it came from. I think it was a game called Blades in the Dark. Introduced this thing called clocks to the player, and it's not like a literal clock. It's like you would draw a circle and you segment it into like 4, 6, 8, and it was basically a way to visualize different world events going on. So let's say you're breaking into a place, the GM may create a clock that is like security. And every time you roll poorly or fail a stealth check or get seen by something, the clock fills in, and if it ever fills in, it causes a complication of like security is now there. And there's positive and negative clocks. Citizen Sleeper uses clocks everywhere. Like you're trying to like balance like, oh god, I want to do this, but if I do this clock's gonna like run out, or so there's a lot of choice in what you want to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
but you can't do it all so you just kind of have to pick and choose and hope that the consequences aren't horrible. Yeah. But it's a very unique game. I was pretty impressed.
Oh my
People at
gosh.
work, it's been out for a bit. People at work sparked my interest in it again. They're like, this game's really good. And I'm like, I've had a couple other people tell me this. And so I just bought it. It was on sale. And it was cool. It's really cool.
Wow. Okay.
And yeah, it's not mechanically complicated. You're tracking those different clocks. You have like a health and some dice. So like every time you go to sleep, you wake up the next cycle, and you have a certain number of dice that have now been rolled, and you assign those dice to different tasks that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you want like it's d6s, so like a 6 guarantees success, good success. Putting a 5 in gives you like 50% chance, great outcome, 50% chance, good outcome. A 4 gives you 25% chance, great, 50% neutral, 25% chance, bad outcome. So you have to pick and choose. You don't have to use all the dice, but going to sleep and moving the cycle along makes other things happen. So you're on time pressure for things as well. But it's very unique. I was enjoying it quite a bit. I will probably play more of it tonight, actually. But yeah, highly recommend that one, especially if you like that kind of storytelling kind of
Yeah.
vibe, and a little bit more than just a visual novel. It actually does kind of feel like a solo tabletop RPG because it feels like your decisions do matter on you, and they give you a variety of things to try to do. A little board gamey in some ways, so highly recommend.
Well, I'm definitely gonna check that out because that sounds really, really. And I like
Uh,
the look, and I like the tabletop aspect, especially when I can play that by myself.
yeah. What else have I been playing? It's been a couple weeks. I played quite a bit more Cyberpunk. Just drew me
You and
right
the
back.
rest of the fucking world.
I know, but I get it. I'm like playing it out. I'm like, one again, it's a game that there's like really no other games that give that specific fantasy to the player
Yeah.
at all. And so it's there, and I feel like they've polished the game up enough where it's just not even that really hard to play. It's feeling pretty good, and I don't know. CD Projekt Red it's taken them 2 years, but they have they are putting resources and development into the game to make it better and better and get it to the point where I think you can see from people playing it on Steam now, people are revisiting being like, "Oh, this is actually an enjoyable game." Now, like 118,000 people played it today in the past 24 hours on Steam,
Dang.
which
So
it still is now it's consistently been the highest single player game on Steam for the past couple weeks since the anime came out.
yeah, that was the whole podcast when you were gone last week. I was
Yeah.
talking about how it had bested Witcher 3
Yep.
in terms of concurrence, and it was like 142 or 132,000.
Yeah.
So it's dipped a little bit, but still, that's a nice trend for them.
Yeah,
And
and
I
it's
saw one of the developers just like on Twitter just talking about how happy they were
yeah.
for it finally be recognized for being good.
Well,
Um,
it wasn't great when it came out. I mean, it was on PC. How I played it was fine. Like I got the best experience for what it was when it
yeah,
came out.
of course.
It's only better now, and finally, I think the anime ended up being good or received very positively, which sparked people to be like, let's check this game out again. Where's it at? And
Yeah,
are being pleasantly surprised that,
very cool.
oh yeah, like the writing is pretty cool overall. It's different. Like I'm actually like playing it through the second time. I'm appreciating the writing more in some ways. Like I think I was coming into it thinking they would do it similar to The Witcher and how like all the side stories tied together. And they don't do it exactly the same way, but I'm noticing that there's a lot of threads to the side stories that tie back to the main story in interesting ways or flesh out the main story in ways that I guess I didn't appreciate originally. That's been nice being like, oh right, CDPR could actually do good writing. So there you go. Yeah, that's been enjoyable. I'm actually pretty excited to see where they take it over the next few updates, and then next year as a expansion. And there's like an CDPR investor call this week.
Oh,
where they're gonna probably talk about some future possibilities. The technical side I've seen now rumored, and they've kind of said it. So Witcher 4 uses Unreal 5.
yeah.
They're dropping Red, and it sounds like they're already prepping to do another Cyberpunk game, but
That's
they're not going to use Red Engine. They're going to use Unreal 5. They're basically dropping their internal engine. They're just
that
going
could
to go
help
Unreal
them
5. Yes,
with
a
all the
lot.
different, yeah, exactly, scaling to different consoles. And it's also, just think of the trajectory of like Cyberpunk comes out, good on PC, shitty everywhere else, gives it a really bad taste in everyone's mouth. A little bit of a redemption arc following Edge Runners and moving in now, which should hopefully lead into if the expansion is really good, then like the excitement for Cyberpunk 2078 or whatever the fuck it'll be called, like
Yeah,
that could be a good arc for them.
it could be. And then with the expansion being like, yeah, we're not even trying to make that thing run on old consoles.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
as the original game probably should have been tried on old consoles.
Right.
I don't know. I meant existing, like playing it on the PC now. Like, you just look around the city and everything that's there, and I'm like, no, I don't think this your engine isn't gonna be able to do this on PS4s. I'll be
Yeah.
honest. Like, I just look at it, I'm like, this is too much. Like, there's too many objects in the scenes. There's too many polygons. Like, sure, Rockstar can do it with GTA. Well, even GTA 5 is really freaking old at this point.
God, it came out on PS3.
Yeah, yeah, GTA 5 was planned for much lower hardware, so they did a lot of tricks. I don't think there's no way if you're like, I'm gonna make a game that looks as good as Cyberpunk, run on a PS4 with as much just dense urban environment there is. Nah,
Yep.
not it. I think it's kind of doomed from the start. They wanted to believe it wasn't, the higher ups, but I'm pretty sure their engineers were like, "Fuck this, we're done, we're out, burn it." So I'm looking forward to it. The anime thing that really, I don't know, it kind of felt good to me, and the fact that the anime opens when its title opens, the first name on the screen is uh, a world created by Mike Pondsmith,
Oh, that's cool.
which is the TTRPG,
Right. Mhm.
like probably the most prominent black man in tabletop RPGs.
Right.
Actually gets like first billing on the anime, and I'm like, that's a really probably a good thing for him, and the fact that he probably never ever expected it that way, and they actually, Artalsorian, his company, shut down in the early 2000s. Like, it was just a family company, him and his
Right.
wife doing it, and they just shut it down. They got out of it. He went to work at Microsoft as a designer. He's worked up here. He's in the Seattle area and just done that stuff. And like, people liked the property, and people always said people would still talk to him about Cyberpunk, like 2020 and stuff. But he was out of the game until CDPR came back knocking, and now he gets to actually have first billing on an anime in his world. It's
Well,
kind
and
of
getting like
crazy.
the props that he deserves for building that world.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy to me that they got there, but it was good. I was happy to see that.
It was very cool.
They didn't have to do that. That's the thing. Like,
Right.
they could have just put that as a little like credit at the very end of the, like, during the post credits or anything. Like, and based on his Twitter feed and like Reddit thing, he didn't ask for that.
Did he know ahead of time? They probably asked him, I guess.
They yeah, when it was there, and I mean, they probably showed it to him at one point. Like, this is like, but it was not a requirement that his name be first billing. So I was happy to see that. Is there anything else I've played? Oh, of course, going back to other old things, playing some Genshin again.
Did they put a new update out?
Yeah, I mean, I had skipped kind of 3.0 there at 3.1.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, fine, I'll jump back in and see. So they added an entire new, like, rainforest and desert region.
Oh.
I know, just playing it, I'm just like, my god, this game is enormous. Like, it's like, what if Nintendo had just kept on updating Breath of the Wild
Oh my
every
god.
every
Yeah.
like 6 months just to add more world,
Yeah.
like significant chunks of more world, and that's what this game is. You're just like, my god, this is just enormous. And I'm like, are you gonna stop at some point? You have to stop, right? But it did make $3.5 billion last year. So
So they're not going to stop. Is basically
no,
that. Because why the fuck would they?
3.5 billion in
Damn.
one game.
Right. Yeah. Nintendo should have kept updating Breath of the Wild because maybe they can have that much money,
Well,
but
they
they wouldn't have had the
were.
gacha mechanics.
They were gonna. That's what.
That's what Breath of the Wild 2 is.
Yeah, because that's started as an expansion,
Yeah.
and they're like, just make a whole thing. But I'm like, what if you were doing expansion, like broke that expansion and did updates every like 6 months, adding more stuff to eventually get to the full expansion.
Right.
Nintendo doesn't work that way though, so
Exactly.
um, that kind of thought of development is definitely not something that they do internally, which is fine. I don't want every game to be like Genshin in that way, because holy crap. But it keeps people coming back, like me, every once in a while, being like, "What's new?" and then being like overwhelmed with how much new stuff there is.
Yep.
So I'll probably play some more of that though. I still enjoy it overall. As a nice like popcorn kind of game.
Right.
It's not a it's not a fulfilling meal, but it's fun and
Nice to
bursts.
pop in and out of. Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost reminds me of I am blanking on the name of it now. Path of Exile, where you like just you come back to it when there's something like shiny or something
Yep.
new, and just
Yep.
dip in
Check
for
it
a
out.
bit. Yep. Which is
but
totally cool.
I think those are the 3 that I've played in the past 2 weeks. I still need to beat Xenoblade. Like,
Yeah,
I just have to. I just
right?
have to get to the point, like the mental place of being knowing that I'm gonna go click the thing of going like point of no return, and then effectively probably be in like 3 or 4 hours of cutscenes with battles interspersed. Because that's what it's gonna be. I'm almost certain. Based on the other Xeno games, I'm just like, yep, gonna get a lot of cutscenes. Gonna do some boss fighting, cutscene boss.
Yep.
Down a hallway fighting some guys, more cutscene.
I
just have to be in the mental space so I can just sit there and take that.
That is how I feel about Disco Elysium. I'm so close to the end. I know exactly what's going to happen, but I have to be in the right headspace for that. And that is like alone in a house with no one around for several hours. Because once you get into that, you can't get out of that.
Yeah.
For me this week, I have played nothing on my own. I have been like, it is so unbelievably stressful in my job right now that I just need to make music. So I'm making music every night. But when I play with my daughter, she's gotten way into Astrobot again. So we have played through the entire game. It's not very long, but we played through Astrobot, all 4 levels. But this time with my daughter doing a lot of the control work. She was doing the, the monkey that climbs up. You have to like swing your controller. You have to rotate controller back and forth, let go of the trigger.
Yeah.
She did that. She was doing that.
Nice.
She was doing the ball where you roll on the trackpad. She basically let me do the Astrobot parts, and then she would do the Astrobot suit powers part for the most part. And yeah, we've played through Astrobot. She wanted really badly to play Sackboy's Big Adventure, and I had put it onto the external hard drive, so I had to transfer it back. And apparently I didn't notice this, but PS5 has done an update where you don't have to like stop everything to pull things back from the hard drive like you used to. Like you can do it in the background while you're doing something else. So she's like, "Oh, Astrobot, so let's play Astrobot." And we started playing Astrobot, and she's like, "Okay, I want to play this instead." So we just kept playing Astrobot. And so that's it. That's all I've been playing, except, and this is not video games, but I have embarked on, after that one-shot D&D with my friend Daniel, I'm now part of their main campaign.
Nice.
And it's been fucking awesome.
So monk still?
No, I am now a rogue. I'm a halfling rogue.
Okay.
And eventually I will like building characters. I don't right now because I don't know what I'm doing. So Daniel just built me a character. So I'm both times I just made basically a one that he made that he just loves making characters. So I was like, great, I'll play this character. So I'm getting to know my character, and it's really cool. Sneak attack with a rogue. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy
sneak attack with a rogue that crits. Enjoy that.
Yes. Oh my god, dude, it's fucking amazing. So yeah, it's really funny because this last round I had DM'd I had DM'd the DM on Discord and said, my next thing I'm going to do, I'm not aiming at the person. I'm aiming over their head. So then I did my attack, and it was like 88 points of damage. And I could have just like I could have ended the encounter right there. And instead it shoots over their head. And, it was really, really fun. It was really cool. It was like really cool character building. Like the combat is fun. I really liked it actually. And then the character building around what I did in combat was cool. So I'm just like,
Yeah,
holy shit, this D&D thing is pretty cool.
D&D is pretty cool.
Oh man. So that's really what I've been playing this week.
I know I need to actually. It's crunchier, but I really should just put together and run like a one shot of The Witcher RPG.
Oh my god.
It's
That's
definitely
like
crunchier than D&D. Although you typically don't use gridded maps for it, so it's all theater of the mind.
mhm.
Um, maybe, yeah, but it's a little bit more detailed in like the damage modeling. Um,
Yeah, and part of the appeal of or not the appeal. Part of what's gotten me quickly onboarded is honestly D&D Beyond. That the
sure,
character sheet on D&D Beyond, like, okay, I can
click the button. Okay,
yeah, I understand this now. I'm understanding what this is. So then eventually I could do it on paper on my own. But right now I'm like, oh,
sure.
okay, I see how that all works. But it is really nice to have it just automated.
Yeah,
Um,
and I see a lot of people, and I would say myself even if I'm sitting at a table with people, like when in the pre times when I was going to the game store and
mhm.
doing my D&D game there, we all had laptops or iPads, and we were just using our characters from D&D Beyond at the table.
Yeah,
Um, we would roll our physical dice, but we didn't have paper character sheets.
yeah,
Um, so we could quickly bring up like, what's this spell do? What's this ability do? Like, read out the specific text.
that's helpful.
It sped up things quite a bit.
Yeah.
Uh, so it was a good choice for Wizards of the Coast to buy D&D Beyond.
And do you know when that happened? Was that recently?
Sometime last year.
Okay.
It's within the last year, and definitely probably over 6 months ago.
Okay.
So it could have been beginning of 2022,
Mhm.
end of 2021. But yeah, they were like, we will take you, and now
I just
use you
always
as our
assumed
official
they were.
platform.
I just always assumed they were part of Wizards,
They
but
were like a prominent, like preferred partner kind of
mhm.
thing.
Okay.
Like they were one of the few places that would get like to do like the pre-sale of digital, like the digital books, and they definitely were elevated to a place where you could easily make the association that they were together. Um, and now they are. So, and they're using it to quite good use for testing out the next D&D. Because they just released actually the Trickster Rogue on there.
I wonder if that's why I have a trickster rogue.
I doubt he built it using those rules, but
Oh, okay.
those came out this past week actually, like
Oh, okay. Yeah, then
Thursday.
definitely
So
not then. Yeah.
they've done new character origins on through D&D Beyond. One D&D is the name of it. And now they put out the second one, which is the expertise classes, which was the bard, the ranger, and the rogue. So they've started tweaking those and playtesting those, and we still have like 2 years before that book gets printed. So this is Wizards playtesting things, trying out wild and crazy changes. It's actually none of it's too wild. But they're definitely trying to clean things up. I feel like they're trying to make the game quality of life of playing it just better, like wording more
Yeah.
consistently, rules just like going, oh, if I know this rule, I should understand this other rule pretty easily.
There's. I mean, I'm not gonna say the things I want to say because they're obvious. But man, there's so much you can do. It's so fun making up
Yeah.
stories and just
Yep.
existing as a character. Even my daughter today was just like, "Can we play a game?" Because I'm sick today, and I was like, "Yeah, what do you want to play?" And she pulls out the board game that we made a long time ago. There's just like moving amiibo around and telling stories about what they're doing.
Yeah.
And she was just like so into it. It was cool. It was with dice rolling. Just so
Yeah.
happy. That's why I want to check out that game you recommended.
Yeah.
Sleeper or
There's,
something.
yeah. Citizen Sleeper. Very
Citizen
good.
Sleeper. There we
Yeah.
go. Cool.
Awesome.
All right, folks. Well, thanks for listening to episode 355 of Prof and Dev Play Games. It's nice not talking to myself, which is probably translated to the listener experience as well. So welcome back, Ant. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having
And
me.
yeah, we'll see you next week. We're getting closer to fall games, so it's big
Yeah,
stuff coming up. So we'll be
there is.
talking about a few things. Sparks of Hope soon. God of War soon. Oh, I pre-ordered the God of War controller because I'm an
Nice.
idiot.
Of course. Yeah. Well,
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, all right, folks. We'll see you next week.
Later, everyone.